And we are back. Joining me now is Lainey Adamson, a medical writer. She says the American Medical Association has gone too far in cracking down on ghostwriting following the recent scandal with Merck. Pleasure to have you here today,
Thank
Lainey.
you so much.
So what happened with Merck?
A few months ago, there was an article in the Journal of the AMA in which Merck was accused of using ghostwriters to write their medical research. Now, this ghostwriter business has now seemed to grow and grow and grow, and it's affecting a lot more than the particular area that they started out with, which was that there was articles being written that were very in favor of a drug, and that they were being published, and that the accusation was that Merck was then going shopping for an MD to put the name on the paper.
So they had, it was ghostwriting as well as, what do you want to say, like their hired gun or the expert, you know, who rubber stamping the article.
Rubber stamping or rent a doctor, for example. However, ghostwriting is also being considered to be everybody who is writing in the pharmaceutical industry.
Well, so now there's really a backlash, and they're saying no ghostwriting or trying to.
Well, the thing is that there is more than one ghostwriting. We have apples and oranges here. Apples, in one case, we have ghostwriters that perhaps are writing the article that is all in favor of the drug. Let's say this is a Gala apple, a happy apple. It's all in favor of the drug. And that we go shopping for a doctor to put their name on it. Now, that kind of writing is almost universally condemned. But there's another kind of writing that's going on that is what I wanted to really bring to the attention of people today. Okay. And that is the team member, where that's part of the pharmaceutical, it's part of the research team is a writer who helps to write up the research.
Right, and I think people may not be aware of the way the whole process really works, that it's often not the doctor themselves writing the research, it's you usually do have a ghostwriter or someone involved in the writing?
Often there is. It doesn't always, but often there is. And just think about it. Do you ever look at the credits at the movies whenever they run at the end of the show?
Well, actually I do, because sometimes they put those bloopers in at the end, so sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes they're fun. Well, it's like that with medical research. We have a whole team of people who are involved. We have the investigators who investigate, we have the statisticians who calculate, we have the medical writers who communicate. And now if we get rid of that team member in there, will this be really good for research? Because after all, in the very bottom analysis, it's a matter of what's good for the integrity of medical research.
Well, and I think really, you know, there's been, because of some of the other scandals in the publishing industry at large, where you've had people either plagiarizing or making false claims or whatever, that now there's really an interest in full disclosure. And even, you know, when, you know, celebrities don't really write books, but the ghostwriter does, and they put the celebrity's name on it, or, you know, it's so common in the rest of the publishing industry. So you're saying that's really happening in the medical field as well, often?
It's happening, and what's happening in the publishing industry is what's happening in the medical research industry now. After all, you can see me, right? Therefore, I'm not a ghost. So therefore, if the person who is doing the writing is identified, they're no longer a ghost.
So disclosure.
Disclosure, transparency, openness, so that you know who did the research, who funded the research, who wrote it up, who were the statisticians, etc. This is good for medical research.
But there's also been some concern the fact that the doctors are on the payroll for somebody is a problem. But you seem to think that's not as much of a problem, and you say they've got to work for somebody.
Well, medical research has to be done one way or another. Whether it's done by private industry or by academia, it has to be done by somebody. So
what kind of safeguards, if you're going to have the doctor who works for Merck doing the study that says that their drugs are wonderful, how do you, and that's a valid article to publish somewhere, how do you?
Well, the valid article is the one that comes from the clinical research that says these are the advantages, these are the disadvantages, and this is what it means to the patient. Because after all, the doctor is relying on what's in the medical research and the journals to make prescribing decisions. So we want it to be accurate.
And you're saying peer review is an important part of that as well, that it's not that no matter who publishes it, somebody should be checking the facts and not just accepting.
Well, we also have, after we have all the investigator and the statistician and the writer, we also have peer reviewers who authenticate, who by their expertise know what's going on in the industry and know what is happening with various drugs, who then go back and take a look at the article and say, and I've had articles come back from peer reviewers saying, add to this or make sure you've included that, so that it's really thorough.
Well, and people may not realize the reason this is important is that You might just say, well, why not just get rid of ghostwriters? We won't have ghostwriters or hire doctors. But you say, really, that would shut down medical research. People don't realize that timeliness is important. You have to get, you say that research that isn't published doesn't exist.
Exactly.
And a lot of times, it's, that's the reason that these articles make it into publication in a timely manner is because of the ghostwriter.
Wouldn't you want to have the best person in the world doing the work? And sometimes it would be the medical writer rather than having the doctor do it. I mean, have you seen a doctor's handwriting?
I've seen it. I can't read it, but I've seen
Exactly. And at the end of like 8 hours of surgery, what doctor wants to face a 5,000-word report on the medical research? So we can go in and we can begin that process of getting the article ready. Then we work with the doctor, not independent of the doctor, but with the doctor to make sure that everything is covered in the report.
And again, potentially, so if some of these articles weren't published, I mean, you have to realize the other side of the coin, that this research could be saving lives.
Exactly.
And patients could be benefiting. So again, it might be easy to just say, well, we'll get rid of ghostwriters, but then people may not.
And the other thing is that the way that we're going to get rid of ghostwriters is to identify them, and therefore that ends it.
Right,
and
disclosure.
therefore we have full disclosure, and we have the right expert working with the team.
But you think it's gone too far the other direction, though, at this point.
I'm worried that ghostwriting is now considered to be so negative, and that sometimes it overwhelms some of the rest of us who are in that industry and who are now looked upon. I mean, when I first heard about it, I thought, moi? Me? How could I be doing something wrong? And I would always try to be really, really, really try to do the very best I can because I believe so strongly in it.
Right. Well, thank you very much for being here today, Lainey. I sure appreciate it. I'd like to also thank David Wolf, Chocolate Fiend, Max Wetstein, and Candace Booth. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time.